Hello and welcome to Camera Review. Today we are looking at the latest lens from Nikon, which is the NIKKOR Z 24mm f1.8. This is the latest release for the mirrorless systems. As you may know, they have come out with their camera Z6 and Z7, which have dropped quite considerably in price, making it more than ever affordable for anyone who wants to get into that mirrorless world and has been looking for a good alternative. Now, for those who don't know, Z7 has 45.7 megapixel sensor, which is one of the largest sensors out there in terms of being a large megapixel sensor. And then for more cheaper alternative, the Z6 has 24 megapixels. So these are their kind of flagship mirrorless cameras that they are hoping will catch on as the market heats up for mirrorless technology. As you know, Sony has been leading the market in that respect, but having Nikon bring in a kind of a force that is going to reshape the way the market is shaped, it is going to make an important impact. Now, what is happening is there is a big differentiation between the lenses that are coming out from the Sony lineup and Panasonic lineup versus what is coming out from the Nikon. Nikon is not marketing this camera and these type of lenses as their premium content kind of production cameras and lenses. Their D6 is coming out, which has recently been announced as going to be their flagship most premium camera, and that is going to probably range between $6,000 to $8,000. When we look at what is offered at the Z7 level, which is the 45.7 megapixel, it has a price tag of about $2,700, and that has come down considerably, about $500-600 from their initial price. So what we're seeing is this move towards the mirrorless, and the mirrorless market is that market that Nikon is investing in. Yet when you look at the lenses that are coming out of Sony's lineup, especially the G Masters, are very, very high-end premium lenses, and they are designed to yield incredible high-quality images. Now, they are also very fast at f1.4, which is almost a standard for most of the industry for professional use. Now, Nikon, as you know, has been the market leader for many years, and their legendary lenses like the 85mm f1.4 has been in the market for a very long time. Then we're looking at this new release and we're seeing f1.8, and we are probably going to say, why is this lens there and not a premium lens for their lineup of mirrorless? Now, I think in a certain way, Nikon is not looking at it and saying, oh, you know what, I'm not going to invest in the system because I still want the DSLR world to continue to exist. And as the sun is setting on that DSLR system, we are seeing that mirrorless is the way that is going to be the way of the future. And people who are buying these cameras that are the newer generation are going for the mirrorless because of all the technology that goes there, especially with the eye tracking and the autofocus systems that have been coming out from systems like Fuji and Sony, and the latest upgrade from Canon is pointing in the same direction, that mirrorless is going to be the one that is going to rule the market. So is Nikon doing something wrong by introducing a cheaper alternative lens into the market when there is not a premium lens for the Z series? And that is a question that I think will help to shape the way that we look into the way that Nikon has been marketing this. And what you will find is that the Z systems is designed to be more affordable so the younger generation can buy it and enter it. And some people may argue f1.8 and 1.4 is not all that much of a difference. For a professional, it is the difference between the best shot and the worst shot, or the most premium lens and the cheapest lens, because as you know, as the f-stops change, the quality and the image that you get from the lens also changes. So that's why we pay the premium for f1.4, when we could get a lens f1.8 for like 1/4 the price. Yet here we're looking at this lens and it is not 1/4 the price. It is marketed around $1,000 at $996. So you might be wondering, how come it's $1,000 and I cannot get a lens that is f1.4 and I'm paying $1,000? Some people might say, I'll pay $1,000 plus another extra $400-500 to get a faster lens, but this is not the case. And Nikon certainly has an incredible know-how in producing fast lenses, incredibly sharp lenses, and they have set the standard for many decades. But yet now we are seeing a more cheaper alternative that is not so fast. And in a way, I think they are shooting themselves in the foot, because if there was the alternative of having a fast lens, then those people who were looking into buying, for example, Sony's or Fuji's or even Panasonic's with their S1H or S1R line, could look at Nikon and say, you know what, I will invest in Nikon because their lenses are going to be as good or even better than what Panasonic is offering. The main advantage that Nikon has over all these other companies is their legacy of having produced incredibly good lenses and have led the market for very long time. Their color science is top notch. They have made a history built upon it. But what's happening is that slowly, like the tide that comes in, the sand is being dragged underneath this giant company, and we're seeing that there is a new way that is coming in. And the only way that Nikon could possibly compete is to produce their premium lenses in mirrorless format that the average consumer can say, you know what, I know there is a Sony, I know there is a Nikon, but I will go with Nikon because they have a legacy of having incredibly good lenses. The only thing that has not been proven, for example, for a company like Sony or Panasonic, is their lenses are not tried and tested out for over decades and decades. What we're seeing though is Nikon is saying, I'm not offering that, I'm offering you a cheap lens, take it. And for a professional may say, I demand the very best. And if the best is not there, you might see them buying Sony A9. There are plenty of videos out there that you can watch that talk about how people are going away from Nikon lineup, and Nikon is shrinking because they are not offering these possibilities for the end user, and these are the things that are going to make the big difference. Another important factor, which I think that a lot of people are already aware, is that Nikon has lagged way behind in providing incredibly good video capabilities. Sony has gone through the roof with their quality in terms of being offering like S-Logs, S-Log2, S-Log3, quality in terms of their lenses, and to be able to use those images to create cinematic images. Even though the number of megabytes that are coming out of each shot that you're making in a film is low, the quality that you can use and be able to get decent enough footage for weddings or professional use is there for Sony. And you can also find that it is being so for the Panasonic lineup with the GH5 and the GH6 that's going to be coming out. And their S1H is incredibly good in that respect. So what we are saying is that while they're going to 6K, Nikon is still insisting to produce UHD quality, which is not the cinema standard, but a small crop on the 4K, which is not really a 4K, and also limiting those possibilities to like 30 frames, not offering 60 frames or 50 frames at 4K or even 6K. So that is going to be a deciding factor of how these companies' cameras are going to do in the near future. Without those abilities of being able to shoot video and photography, camera companies are not going to make it, because the market demands that not only the consumer but the companies that offer these jobs for example, assignments where they say go and shoot, for example, the elephants in Africa, or you go and shoot a special event. They want to have photographs as well as video. But if you're offering them only video, that is not up to the standards that is set by the industry, then it's going to affect the way that lens and camera going to be received by the general population and as well as the professionals. So it is very important to look at it that way. Now, you're going to find a lot of people saying how good that lens is, how fast that lens is. That lens is part of an ecosystem. An ecosystem is one that defines the direction that you're going to be making your future investments. So if you bought the 24, you're probably going to buy the 35, 50, 85, or you're going to buy some of their 24 to 70 lenses, which cost $2,300, far more expensive than the market price. Then you're going to ask yourself, why am I paying that premium if my camera is not going to offer me the capabilities that this lens has? Because this lens is sharp, it can resolve very high resolution, yet it is not able to offer me good video. That is going to be a factor that needs to be considered. Having said that, I will say this: the 24mm is designed and marketed in a way that is going to be appealing to certain segments in the market. Those that don't want to spend $1,500 or $2,000 for a premium lens, they might want to go for the $1,000 lens. Yet when they buy that $1,000 lens, if the system Z6 and Z7 don't hold their ground, it's going to be very hard to sell them, because people are going to say, I'd rather buy a Sony, a Fuji, or a Panasonic. So that is what is going to make this system success or failure. Now, on the pricing side, again, $1,000 is not a lot of money if you compare what is available in the market. Yet you will find that the Chinese are producing incredibly good lenses now. They're coming in faster and faster. Koreans have their Samyang and other lenses that are also being produced in the market. Rokinon is there, also competing. Now, I'm not putting them in the same basket as a Nikon. What I'm saying is that there is competition on the lower end, there is competition on the upper end. The upper hand is the lenses that are like the G Master lenses that are in there, that are going to be very fast, very accurate, and coupled with the technology that is top of the line. As you know, Sony has released their 61 megapixel camera that is setting the margin and the point where all the other cameras must now go up to that level or try to reach that level, because 30 megapixel for a full frame is not going to cut it. Which brings me back to that story about the D5 and D6. D6, if they're going to do 24 megapixels, well, it might be a camera for fast sports action, but it may be the camera that nobody buys. So we will see, and how the market is going to receive. We will also see the 24mm as an investment point of view is a consideration. Yet the consideration that you must put in first is, are you going to buy the Z6 or buy the Z7? And if you buy the Z7, what is your intent? Are you going to do photography or video? If you're going to do photography, strictly 45 megapixels with a lens like this is going to give you great results, but it will not give you the same bokeh that you will have with a 24mm f1.4, because that is going to change the way things look, and it's going to help you in the low light. Now, because it's a wide angle lens, most people probably going to shoot landscape or architecture or other forms, yet it can still be used as a portrait lens if it's fast. So that is a key factor that it needs to be considered for wide angle lenses. On the side of getting those sharp images, there is a lot of technology that is going on with the way the cameras are designed. Cameras are not doing just one shot, they are doing composites. If you look at the 200 plus megapixel image that you can get out of a Sony by stitching 4 to 16 photographs together to get those incredibly accurate, sharp details, that is going to make a big mark in the business, because if your photographs have more details and more accuracy, and you have been able to resolve it through a lens that can capture that detail, then you are going to be having the upper hand than somebody who's going to shoot 24 megapixels or 45 megapixels and is coming with only one shot. So that is in itself a consideration for anyone who's looking to buy a lens For me, investing in a lens is investing in an ecosystem. I have used Nikon for many years. I am not using Nikons as much. Still have some Nikon gear that I use occasionally, but their mirrorless systems need to come up to the par, and the technology standards must meet the standards of today before they can be considered a viable alternative to companies like Sony, Fuji, Panasonic, or otherwise. So I hope this has been informative. We're going to be talking more about Nikon lenses, especially the cameras that are going to be coming out D6. So if you want to find out more information about this camera lens combinations, and also about the 24 millimeter, there are links down below with the specs and everything. Please visit them, and if you have any questions, drop a line in the comment section. I will answer your questions, and I hope to see you in our next review. Thank you for watching.